We're going to start with our 1 and 8 matchup, though, and we're headed right into Agent Select.
Oh my goodness, I love the sepia filter. Let's get it. This is bringing me back to 2006. All right, so as we go over to Ascent, I know that some of you have been watching some good old Masters gameplay in Toronto. One thing that really showcases to me a bit of a different flavor, you talked about it in the green room, Teo. Snow is going to be sitting on that new initiator with us, and the Reyna play that's going to be existing on either side of the battle line is going to be really interesting. That's a very ego-heavy, very aggressive style of duelist to bring onto this map, but it's going to be a difference of, do we get the Cypher information that really finds a massive impact, or is it going to be the Killjoy kind of directly delegate the defaults that will be able to kind of set the pace for this game? East Helena, they've got a lot of work to do. They found a couple of rounds in their group stage play, and they're going against the best coming out of all 8.
Centerville able to end up at that 2-1 and just barely lost their last map in overtime by 2 rounds at the end of it. So they'll start on that defensive side. I think for East Helena, it's all about comfortability. Yes, you're playing the Tejo. It did receive a little bit of nerfs, but you've got this Killjoy, you've got the Viper, you've got a lot of shutdown tools, but it's mostly used on the defensive side. So you've got to get very creative starting on the offense.
All right, so as we all kind of stack up into B as well, I want to see how just the pace level that's going to be brought with this. To this attack, you do have Helena that is going to try and at least lock things down with that toxic screen. It provides a singular lane, especially for 4, to just try and throw some immediate damage out there with, but they're going into kind of a duelist concept. I mean, that's what they're sitting on, is with a jet. But you have everyone here ready to go snapping. They get to the corner, and that's Vic that's able to win that first blood. That's already 2 big kills here for the Vigilantes.
It's massive. Open up with a big positive player scenario. Kind of trapping inside for Roxic from behind. It's Violin who sings beautifully as Thel is able to get another one on top. It's a 3v1. It's 5 bullets in the tank ready to lock in. Of course, that Viper wall unusable because the Viper is down, so they'll leave the Killjoy. Violin has a chance for the 1v1 as the team rotates away.
With the idea that they could have actually swarmed into like maybe a 3-man swing, I was thinking they could just overwhelm with a huge classic just barrage, but instead they decide to just play it a little bit safer, go to a different site where 4 wasn't locked in. They didn't know where they were, so they'll have Heaven, or rather they'll have Hell and Ginny, and they'll be playing from main as well. So 4, if they can isolate this into 2 separate duel fights, they might be able to get this retake, and they got plenty of time to do it right now.
Smoke is going to leave their teammate isolated here for East Helena. The plant is nice, but it's going to be all about these duels. You said it. You find the angle.
1 enemy remaining.
There's the shot, there's the kill, but it's a work back in from Line Cellar that East Helena takes. They've got the round 1 advantage.
That's got to feel massive, considering obviously that you're in 2 different group stages. You don't know the pure identity of both these teams as of yet, but you get a flavor of them, especially into that first pistol round. Vigilantes out of East Helena have already gotten half the amount of rounds that they got in their group stage. That has got to be huge, considering they're walking into what was the seeded #1 out of the Centerville Elks. So they go into this bye. And I like that they also kind of postured, and instead of going to a 4-1, they go straight to a 5-man. Run with your heaviest hand because you're going to have the arsenal difference right now. But they know the pressure is coming against them. They don't want to get caught in this one.
Oh, Ev is going to just slay him down. It's the double headshot kill lateral, and the walkout from 4.
1 enemy
They're
remaining.
Just trapped. Everybody's fallen, and it's just 1 left to take. AVB has got the flawless from Centerville, and what a strike back.
That's one of those that you cannot allow to happen either. I know that they went to shift. They did lose one of their players and then another that immediately followed, especially from that archway. But if you're making that kind of rotation, especially with the expectation that they're tracking you from B main, you got to keep someone at least looking so that you have that full firepower from distance. The Classic is a tough customer to find some damage from there. So turning that into an eco break here, Llama. That's a big turnaround for Centerville, especially on a flawless.
That is just massive. You get the turnaround on the economy, you get yourself in a great position on this defensive side, and you get EVP.
Poison's gone.
Rifle 4 just steps out and takes down the Viper. How about 2? How about... Okay, I want to slow down just a little bit. Violin, go back in as EVP
1
picks
enemy
up their
remaining.
double kill.
Spike
It's just
down
everybody
A.
falling down. And Felt the last one to try and rip it, but the bench does not provide enough cover. And it's Ice and Zapping, but 3K and Centerville with back-to-back rounds.
You know, one of these days, I'm gonna go over and get some gelato from there, because if they're taking a front seat to get an icy cold treat and turning around to try and spray down some fire, that must be a very high quality frozen delicatessen. So a couple in a row though for the Elks out of Centerville. That is over in Ohio, producing some big stuff, both in the esports scene as well as in the regular sports side of things. I think that you'd know, right? Kind of some big high schoolers coming out from there.
Absolutely. Obviously, so far 2 for 2 in LOS Nationals. Overwatch Hello. Here's the back line. There they go.
Spike
First
down,
hit their
B.
bubble. A 3K for Ice Topic fell. At least get 2 back. They know you're looking. Just a Phantom to cut it down, and JV&G already has the operator. Centerville's got 3.
Getting caught a bit tunnel vision. That's something that happens to a lot of players, especially when you're just solely focused on the objective in front of you. Timidity has kind of infected this team to a degree to go into that B main position. I feel like they would very much benefit from at least a 4-1 split, or maybe even a 3-2, just looking for a default, spreading the field a little bit, because they're making the job just too easy for the Elks right now. They know where everyone goes to, and I mean, they end up just kind of rushing you down, making the map very small.
They play very quick, and you know they're the #1 seed in this playoff race for a reason. Entering the day-to-day, Centerville, in terms of average VALORANT rank, are ranked 3rd amongst all 8 teams in the competition. JV&G, though, is going to get a nice little positioning further forward, just clearing out everything outside of tiles, making sure to keep pushing forward. They've wrapped them. They've got the opener first blood. Not going to stop there.
You're going to see this long swing all the way from attacker side spawn. Four is going to take on every single duel, and they're going to get blinded out, but not before they at least grab another victim. Physic is going to come, or Ryzik is going to come right back from main, and then again, catching them in a pincer maneuver. The clippy clap claws are getting onto the bodies of the vigilantes, and that first round is starting to look like a distant memory.
Already going back to the 4-1, 4 straight rounds here from Centerville, and if you're watching at home and wondering, we're just starting up our second of the quarterfinals, Owasso versus Utica. We're going to bounce between the two of them. We're not going to play all 4 quarterfinals at once. That would be mayhem. We'll see that Bishop Kelly and Francis Howell and the Cedar Rapids Gretna one a little bit later.
I would love to see a quad screen and try to keep up. That's a challenge for me later, not for in actuality. You're going to get the guided salvo. They're able to scan them out. Everyone has to go do-si-do, and they're dancing to die. That's a couple that are caught in the Hunter's Fury. That's another one added to the bucket list. JVing on the operator. And now stuck between a rock and a hard place. About to be Swiss cheese, as that's Isotopic Hero. Wow, great use of the ultimate, but man, everyone just kind of caught in that hallway.
And I think it's because Centerville has just been playing so quick. They've been doing this all day long, where if you're not going to go forward or even take any space towards mid, they'll take that space instead. They'll send their jet so far forward that there's no way to escape, and they're playing double duelist. On the defensive side, you have to make creative moves like that. So I like the timeout here. I think it's early enough on. It is only a best of 1, so you've got limited rounds to give.
I want to see them take advantage of having the double controller, because when you especially run a Viper Omen, you're all about taking away these sight lines, just smothering your opponent, and especially getting a little conditioning going on, because you throw the talk screen basically into one of 2 set points the entirety of your matchup, and you're trying to feint for flank as well as rotation. Some of that, and then pretty much all of that, has not been in the game plan right now for East Helena, and some of that might just need to be spread out to a default. Maybe that's too complex, like to a higher level degree, and I think that they're narrowing their pathway to something way too easy for Centerville to just be fast, like you've been mentioning. I feel like if they simply spread it out, slow them down, you'd be able to find them just as successful as you were in the very first round of the entire map.
One of the interesting things is, too, I mean, these are teams that have never played against each other, that are now playing a cross-group matchup that, sure, are state champions in their own right, but have to figure out the opponents, what they're going to do. 4 figures, everybody out. 4! No! The ace is stolen away, and the Classic doesn't grab it. Rysik has got the teammates back, but it is just a snappy play that earns Centerville a guaranteed tied
Your
half.
hearts are
My
pounding.
goodness, that is a spray transfer as a forum, as a clinic. It's like, all right, this is how you control it. It was giving love to the entire magazine, to the entirety of all the vigilantes. They got to the door, and that's about as far as they stepped. So Centerville, they play without remorse, without regret, with no holds bar, and it's just a fight every single time. And you're seeing 4 just taking the benefit of that.
Can play aggressive, can play with confidence. This time around for EVV, will step up over towards Catwalk as Rysik will look to grab some information. Already has the contest coming through the back line. He's gonna take some damage from 4. He sprays out the boom to the isotopic. Gets the first hit. Dodging away from those salvos, it's 2. Coming through, the Bulldogs open up the site. Is actually clean and open. They've got to run it from behind. EVV sprays them down for a 1v1.
One enemy remains.
It's a 3v2, but JVNG's operator has been dealing deaths all day long.
Go get a plant, go get a plant, go get a plant. You're being chased down, get a plant. Move on to site. But now you're getting caught up into facing off against the hunter. They were always the hunted. I've never seen a carnivorous elk, but I have seen a horse eat a baby chicken. I have to assume this is something similar at this point.
They're just feeling really good and confident, and I think that's what you have to do in these best of ones. I mean, this is a single elimination playoff bracket. You're also talking about for Centerville, they were the ones that played in that earlier day set. Group A played 3 or 4 hours ago at this point, staying warm in an adverse land environment and then showing up like this. Really proving what they've got. For East Helena, 5 ultimates up available. Daggers, the ultimate that matters for 4.
Okay, so 4 is taken out after they pop their Blaze Storm and get an opening kill. EVV trying to catch Venom, backing it up. They will stay in the guided salvo. They will eat through half of that damage. They're now eating as if they're at a buffet. The Vigilantes are in treat sweet to 8-1 for Centerville. Oh my goodness, what a run this is.
And we need a return.
Just gone 8 rounds straight and really haven't cared about anything else. I think jumping through mid there, always so smart, always really cool to see. And for these two teams, it's an awesome one, but it's not the only best of one we've got going on. Let's check out what our other best of one has to show us in the quarterfinals.
All right, so we're going to drop in with Owasu. That's out of Oklahoma. We're going to be on Sunset with them versus Utica, the Chieftains from out of Michigan. A heck of a very successful esports state, if I might add, for several different titles. Woo! One tap, Texie's able to get rid of Grad the Better. Grad the lesser release right now as they have at least the wire thorns they have to walk through, and Mordekaiser will get the benefit of big off the plug, trying to get their way through that steely garden. So it's a 4v2. Defense is looking very strong at this point, and even more so if they're flexing into a 5-0.
Playing this vibe,
I feel
some
no
of their
empathy
matches in
for
the
them.
day-to-day, and
What does that say about me?
really well, especially in that sheer war, just cutting off that attacking side, making sure if they commit, you're either full committing or you're losing a few members in the process. For Utica, it's going to force an early timeout for them, being down a few rounds. Again, only single elimination here. Semifinals is where we start to expand those best of 3s, and by the way, those semifinals will be a little bit later today after our second set of quarterfinal matchups.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that's a best of 3 question mark? Yeah, so that's when things start getting spicy. You've had BO1s this entire time, and BO1 is cool, but you end up on maybe something you don't like. You get a chance, though, to be able to play into something once you finally go into proper series play. And these two teams, winner of this one, has a chance to play the winner of the other 2 teams we were just looking at. And right now, Owasu's in a fantastic spot. Chieftains, got to find a way through. This is a kind of a smash and grab style. Cypher's very strong, and I'm actually excited to see a little bit more of how this match contends because of Vise onto Sunset. I've not gotten a lot, but it actually can be pretty quirky, especially with the way you have the speed built in around that Neon. Same thing with that Clove right in combination.
It's really interesting, and I think especially on a map like Sunset, if you're not taking mid control, you're going to have to realize on the attacking side, we've got to choose for a 50-50. One of those entrances to the site is going to be cut off, so we need to be the ones that get creative, that force those early rotations and pressure their way on in. Speaking of pressure, the door is going to be shut. It's just an easy smoke down through archway, so it's just a very defensive setup to start from Milwaukee.
They've kind of given up mid to create these funnel situations, and they know that they're very protected on their mains and their links, but mid is basically an open playground. They don't mind if Utica ends up playing there. Now, to Speddy, off of this this outlaw, trying to gain a lot of extra space. They know that there's not a great, at least, arsenal to work with, and they're able to get a nice double tap into grad to better. They'll back on up, they'll reposition, but that's gonna be a nice paranoia to force them to retreat even further.
Speddy's been dragging all day long. There's a jumping headshot. Oh boy, daggers delivered. Already a double kill here from the Neon. Gonna go stun and run. Hits another. Why not? 3K jumps back in. The mentality is insane, and the round is won after the Utica timeout.
Speddy, when your Neon is committing like a duelist should in that very ego-aggressive style, and it's working, it's almost an unstoppable force, especially when the Outlaw is working well against kind of your pseudo-eco that was being held by Utica. The Chieftains just not a great spot, especially. I mean, the dude looking like Zekin out there right now. Zekin hitting the exact kind of Outlaw shots on a Neon on Sunset. So, you know, job well done.
Gotta continue to go, though. In 6 rounds, sure, it's a flawless map so far. You've got to keep going. 2 ultimates here, especially that Rolling Thunder, can deal some great damage and open up a site. For Utica, they step back a little bit. They're going to go for a 3-2 split, trying to gain some control. Then just realize, let's challenge. Let's go for this. Shoot the bullets left in the mag. It just gets both. That's enough. 4 bullets is all it takes.
What I would think of maybe rotating away. You're just driving up the ace. They finally got him behind. They're caught from behind, though. His strong Maniac just has to be able to strong arm his way through this. Mordekaiser's going to be moving forward. You hear the audible intel. It's not really going to matter.
You can't see my face right now.
Right to the corner. We're going to cue this one right around to our other matchup that was also started up in progress. This one looks like it's about ready to be done. 4 in the gang on the attack out of Centerville. They need 2 more rounds before they move into the semifinals.
Say the health bars are not too good. Flower's gonna eat that paranoia whole. Rysik dodged it away, and it's gonna be required. It's a pistol round, and it already looks so good. JV&G is not the operator this time, but they've got the position now of Violin. Can they play this as a duo? No, the sword, the knife, everything to the back! Mom, get the camera! It's a murder!
It must be in the UK. I haven't seen a knife stab into someone since, well, it's a little bit back. All right, so we go 12-1. Centerville and these Elks looking pretty darn good as East Helena, well, they found that first pistol. They're going to have to sell out, well, they're going to need to buy up completely. Go for your Stinger, get your half shield, and just completely try to run this through. Montana trying to bring their best, but clearly Ohio's got something to say to try and move on to this bracket.
It's this #1 seed. Their only loss, as we said, coming in overtime, #1, a 14-12 showdown.
Out of charges.
Now they're just gonna send it down mid, and why not? Confident play, trying to earn a semifinal bid. There's a headshot. Makes it even more likely. Guided Salvo's gonna force them away, but EVP just takes down the Tejo. Will trade their life. The Salvo's still doing some damage, but look at this pincer coming through. You've got mid, you've got the long shot. The Boots has got a double.
One enemy
to get
remaining.
more, but it's Isotopic Hero, the hero of the day in a 2v1.
They've got that spike. They don't even need to go hunt the Omen, but they've got a judge, and they're bouncing around as if they're playing some Doom. As from behind. They don't.
Spike
Bucky
down
Gaming
A.
separated from the spike, and Fell finish this one off. Keep the dream alive to around 15. Pop window, reposition top ramp. That's not a great dual position if you're trying to be able to keep it away from an AR. But they, at this point, Isotopic Hero knows exactly where they're probably gonna be. And they know what they're gonna keep away from.
I have the spike.
30 seconds left.
Charges.
Drops the smoke, because we'll duel another time. Away they go towards the B site, looking for the plant. 20 seconds to go. Kind of biting it a little bit close towards the end. But it's going to be an interesting decision here for Thel. you have a lot of weapons to choose from to pick up that are laying on the ground there. But interestingly enough, Hero can play a more inside angle on this 1v1.
They definitely gave up that Vandal. I gotta wonder if he's gonna pick that up or if he's keeping with the Bucky instead. Judge in hand. So he definitely went over to pick up that AR for the moment. Just letting him know he knows where he is. And he's got his buddy's shotgun in his hand. So he's gonna play this CQC. He's right on the walkway. He's gonna try and spam through this wall. And there it goes. 4K for Atomic Hero, 13-1 for Cineville. That'll be the Elks. Moving on. We're gonna be moving right back over to our quarterfinals here in all of a moment. But a heck of a drive and a heck of a way for Cineville to keep this one just super crispy.
Yeah, coming in as the #1 seed into playoffs, you get to see EVV4 and Isotopic all surmount 15 kills apiece and over 300 average combat score. Combined 10 first bloods between the three of them. And he's telling you give them their flowers. I mean, a state champion in their own right, but it gets tough when you get up to this national competition. So we give them both their love, but we've got another match to get to.
I think the combined total ACS between the two top players from out of Centerville was the equal ACS of all 5 players from out of East Helena, just as a quick bit of math there. So, all right, we go into what was a flawless round coming out of round 9, and then moving, of course, now into a perfect 10-0. These early quarterfinals. Obviously, you're seeing the product of what is good seeding from out of group stages, and the higher seeds are definitely bringing the work.
Absolutely, and these are also gonna be possibly 2 different teams from 2 different groups. Of course, if you're looking at the seeding, all the teams from Group A are the odds, and all the teams from Group B are the evens. So we have a possibility of an A versus B matchup in a 1 versus 4 if Owasso can keep doing what they're doing. Of course, Utica this time out is a critical one. You've got the Neural Theft, you've got the From the Shadows that can actually be very beneficial for repositioning ultimate, but you've got to find these next 2 rounds, or realistically, it's going to be impossible. Ended up here, and Utica now has to make their decision on where they want to go. It's going to be a 5-stack again, down a lot.
Go, go, go!
Despetti has got the Outlaw again. Let's go, weapon. Headshot. Spray him down, spray him down. There's the overheal. Everybody flies into the air. Still, we've got this
1 enemy remaining.
Despetti that pushes in. Outlaw, 2 bullets, 2 kills, and down goes the spike.
And they left that thing way behind. Omar trying to find some way to get around this spring. I gotta figure that Omar knows one of the guys on the other side. He'll be able to get Spetty. Spetty turns Omar into spaghetti. Wraps him up. 3K. That's 11-0. Trying to have a flawless first half. Utica with a mountain to have to surmount.
Very true. And honestly, for also as well, I mean, 11 rounds straight is lovely to see, but their confidence, a full house in that last round, able to get just so much going their way. See if they can again. It looks like a mid push from the defensive side, where they've been playing so aggressive. Utica, I mean, just needs to scrap something out of this round. Of course, you would have to go flawless in your own right. Your defensive side for Despetti, they're already in the tiles. Goes for the stun. That cage is going to delay him out, or is it? Just walks through it, isolates the one.
I know exactly.
Brad is better, in fact, and Big Otha makes it a 5v3.
Okay. All right. Able to at least get 1. Solid work. Utica making this into a realistic function. They get paranoid, I think, from their own teammate. No, they actually got to be from the top of sight, so they ended up coming right back from Utica. So you got 5 versus 1. Mordecai's with a half a health bar. They're going to try and pinch this from both sides. Mordecai's going to toss out the Arc Rose, trying to be able to get a Shine Blind, but no one's peeking. They have another fault line. They're going to be all stunned up, and Mar able to find 1. A similar breadstick counts of 11-1 as we flip halves.
It's a round. Now you're going to need 12 more of them from Utica straight if you want to win this one in regulation. Owasso, they only need 2 to win it in regulation and 1 to guarantee themselves overtime. But as we said, I mean, this defensive side, it can lean towards it if you can find the angles to go for it. I think it all starts on this pistol. You lose the pistol for Utica, it looks pretty dire.
At this point, I mean, knowing that it just takes 2 for Owasso to move on, you play kind of, you simply play your game. You play for fun. You play as Utica, as a squad that's just having a great time, which is tough to be able to do and actually kind of think on, because I often look at this, I'm like, why am I still in this lobby? But on the one way, they Tuspedi checks out, gets rid, or has at least their Sova snap away one of the tripwires. They immediately rotate away. That's something of a next level that you can really adapt and have, especially in these big programs. And just as that cloud goes down, Texi comes up.
It's already 3. The bodies continue to fall here in this A site, and the rotate over will be late. We're gonna see what Utica can do with this 2-player stack, and Tuspedi is ready for it. Ghost in hand, Omar finds the headshot, and Mar does too. For 3v2, entry back, and Omar's got a double. All of a sudden, the over-aggression is punished.
Last player standing.
Strong maniac though. Send in from Mar. The shots just don't work. Everybody gets a kill, and Owasso's 1 away from victory.
Match
It was
point.
starting to become so promising, especially when they were playing off of each other's hits on the side of the Chieftains. Unfortunately for Utica, they had 1 good peek come out of Owasso, and the Rams ran right through them. 12-1, trying to match up of what Centerville was able to do just a moment ago against the Vigilantes out of East Helena and get Sunset done with. So they will be full stacking, and they will be full buying. Utica is going to try and, well, hold against the tide, but these Rams are going to start running.
Got the waves going their way. In their circle, Tuspedi's got the shotgun as well. There is a 1 lonely Gecko man on the site, trying to find it, and Mordekaiser's Bulldog will put him in the dirt.
1 enemy
Players
remaining.
make that 1. It is all down to the Cypher, the 5v1, the 1 HP, the overheals on top of everything. And a possible wait on the other side of this one. Omar, there's a shotgun shot for 1. They chase it. It's going to be the bigger question. Shock dart out, push away, everything dumped in. And
Attackers
Tuspedi's
win.
final kill will mean Owasso is moving on to play the #1 seed.
Owasso versus Centerville is going to be an absolute banger. That semifinal is going to be McNasty. 20-5 on a Vise with Sunset. Starting to make me think maybe I should play that, but I don't think I will match up to that caliber. Tuspedi showing us exactly why Neon continues to run the roost of the playground here. So good looks overall from out of Owasso, and Utica. It's, look, the power of these seeded matchups, especially the collision course between those two going to that semifinal, it was undeniable.
The power was there, feeling good, and both of our first quarterfinals go 13-1 as we've already locked 2 teams in towards those semifinals, which, as we both mentioned, enter into those best of 3 territories. Now, we do have a couple more best of 1s before we do get there, and it's going to be interesting to see kind of how these groups start to clash, because again, these teams have realistically never played each other overall. We're not even talking during the regular season, but even today as well. So getting to see that clash is super cool, and maybe if you're a player at home that wants to be involved in some of these events, there is a place for you. If you want to check out the LOS portal, there's amazing things there that you can track all your stats, all of your accolades. All you have to do, !portal in the Twitch chat, or head over to the portal site online.
Make sure to check it out. Have a great time with it, of course, because we got even more of these competitions come up forward with us. Make sure to give a lot of love, and of course, follow this channel as well. Scholastic, LOS Scholastic will continue to bring even more high-level gameplay. We got 2 more quarterfinals here for the Nationals coming up in just a little bit. It will be at 6:45. That means you have 40 minutes to grab yourself a snack and kick back as we get back into it right after this break.